In this video, we're going to talk about linear equations in two variables, x and y. And I'm going to kind of go assuming that this is familiar, at least somewhat. So let's say we have an equation, y equals negative 3x plus 4. Okay, so we have two variables. We have the x and the y. This equation happens to be solved for y. You may remember that these two numbers are special. When you have your equation solved for y, then the number in front of the x, the coefficient on x, is the slope. And we notate that with an M. So this tells us how steep this line is. The fact that it's a negative slope tells us it's going to be a decreasing line, kind of tending down as you go from left to right. And then this other number, the constant, the one that doesn't have an X on it, is the y-intercept. Y-intercept. So that means this line passes through the point 0, 4. And in fact, you could plug 0 in for x, and this whole negative 3x term just zeroes out. You get y equals 4. So that's very easy to check. Okay. Oh, and so this is also, y-intercept is often labeled with a b. So we have what we call the slope-intercept form of a line, or of the equation of a line. So this is the slope-intercept form. And it's really helpful. It's probably, I don't know, one of the more useful forms of the equation of a line, because there's like, I don't know, a bunch of them. But very easy to immediately graph your line if you have your equation in this form. If you have the graph of your line already and you want to write down the equation, you can probably write it down pretty accurately, as long as, you know, stuff isn't like fractions or something. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and just practice graphing this. So whenever you're graphing a line, you want to start with a point. So in this case, we know 0, 4. We know that one immediately. We don't have to calculate anything. So let's plot that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's our y-intercept. So you always want to start with a point so that you have a place to kind of anchor the line or to kind of work from. So the slope, once you have a point, you can use the slope to find another one. But it just tells you kind of the overall like steepness. It doesn't help you like locate the line, if that makes sense. Okay, anyway, so our slope, M, is negative 3. You can think of this as negative 3 over 1 because we usually think of the slope as a ratio. So it's a ratio of the change in y, or you might call that the rise, over the change in x, or we might call that the run. So rise over run, negative 3 over 1 in this case. So that means we're going to, starting from our y-intercept, we're going to go negative down 3 and then right 1. So we're assigning the negative to the 3. So we're going to go down 3 and then right 1, and we're going to end up here. Let me get rid of those little goofy marks. So down 3, right 1. And I could do that multiple times, down 3, right 1, and I'm still going to have a point on the line. I could also, if I wanted to get kind of cheeky, think of this as, instead of negative 3 over 1, I could think of it as 3 over negative 1. That still simplifies to negative 3. So that means I could go up 3, left 1, and I'm still on the line. So all of these points are what we would call collinear, meaning they are all on the same straight line. And notice we have a descending line because our slope was negative. So let's do one more example. And see if we have something like y equals 2/3 x minus, I don't know, 6. Let's see. Okay, good. Ooh. All right, so you might pause the video and just to check and make sure and see if you can write down what the slope and the y-intercept are, and then we're going to graph them quickly. All right, so this we're comparing to y equals mx plus b. So m is 2/3. M equals 2/3. By the way, that's a positive number. That means this is going to be a increasing line. We're going to overall be tending up as we go from left to right. And then our y-intercept is 0, -6. So we're going to plot that first, -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we'll use our slope to find another point. So now this slope is saying go up to right 3. So up to right 3. And there's another point. And when I'm doing this by hand, like not on a computer, I like to do a few points. So up to right 3. I think it makes it easier to draw. But if you're on My Open Math, then you probably only need 2 points. And there we have it. So using the slope-intercept form to graph a line, or to vice versa come up with the equation of a line.